And then and they'll just start talking, and then in my mind I'm asking them questions, as I'm painting it, and sometimes I'll say something out loud, and when they answer me and they come back after I say something and they come back with the chitter chatter, there's this sense that you have this feeling of conversation between a normal being sitting on the couch right next to you. You're chatting, and if I say something, I can just hear you say something back to me, and I can imagine some of the things that they say, and even feel it when they joke or laugh with me. It's a real feeling that comes across that's really hard to explain, and it's like that physical feeling that I've gotten through contact. It's almost impossible to explain, but it's there. And the only time that I've gotten a real true message, besides a feeling of yes or no, but when it's a no, there's really not a very much of a response, unless it's just like they go nuts, and then they're saying, no, are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? That's not going to work. That's you can't do that. That's what it sounds like when they start going wild. But if they just go with one or two chirps, I'm figuring out that they're being agreeable with me, and it feels like they're agreeing with me. So we keep the conversation going, and they'll just keep on going with me for an hour, 2 hours. If I can't like that, they'll just stay there. And I find that just be amazing. It's nice to know that I have that going on. And then when we have a group, and then we set it up, and we're out doing our asking and our CE5 for all our visitors, they just start going wild, and they do all kinds of stuff on the radio. And one night we had that where it was just a constant shh until I picked it up, squeezed it, and said, okay, that's enough. And they stopped. And then they just started talking on the radio again. So, and that was the night when they told me to look up that they're just over our head right now. And that was really the only message I ever got that was a true pick it up, word for word. That's it. You got it. And then when I said that, and I pointed up at the sky and said that, everybody looked up, and sure enough, the ship just shows up. There it is. And they're sitting there with their lights on, and we were totally blown away,
As an aside, you'll find this, as I do, not funny in the ha-ha sense, but just funny in a, oh my God, I can't believe it kind of sense. I was supposed to do a Zoom conference with Grant and myself and Rebecca Hardcastle Wright. And we had the date all set up and everything, end of the month, probably right before Thanksgiving or something like that, whatever it was. I got an email from her yesterday, and it said, Walter, I'm sorry, but I've got to cancel. I've got COVID. And I said, really?
Rebecca has it?
Yeah. And so I went back and I looked at some notes, and that whole exo-conscious team, which is made up of, PhDs. Nancy's from Princeton. Rebecca has her PhD. There's 4 or 5 others. None of them have
read her book. I love her so much.
None of them have been vaccinated.
Wow.
COVID. Rebecca and Nancy believe that the vaccine has some type of infestation into it. And this is what happens when even really bright people pay too much attention to social media and not enough attention to science. And it's funny to me that the brightest of the bright that we have, many of them, refuse the vaccine for some of the most ridiculous reasons that you could possibly find. But they're convinced that this is some type of conspiracy to inject us with some type of nanotechnology or something like that. So they both refused it. The last conversation I had with Nancy, she was holed up in her apartment in Sarasota. She wasn't coming out for anything, except she did go up to do the Derby CE5 thing up there, but she said I was the only masked person up there. And I'm thinking to myself, this is insane. You know, why in the world, how in the world can these obviously intelligent, I've read Rebecca's books too. She's obviously an intelligent person. She has a great idea in this transhumanistic quality of exoconsciousness. And I don't know anybody else that's even writing well on that except for her. And to find out that, she just completely lets her common sense go away. It says something about, academics and doctorates and learning. There may be not a lot of learning going on when you're getting a lot of learning, if you know what I mean. So I just found that the whole thing, in a very sad sense, comedic. We lost the interview with her, and I was going to ask you to come in as a guest on that. A guest usually doesn't have his picture up, but he can ask questions and that kind of thing, and they kind of sit in the background kind of thing. You do a 5-way panel with it because I knew you had just read her book, but that got put off. And now Nancy wanted to get back to you and ask some more specific questions about this. She and I fell out of touch. It's a long story that's not worth going into, but we've fallen out of touch. But I encouraged her to do that, and I would encourage you, if you desired, that if she contacts you and said, I'd like to test this in a different way, because she likes to formalize the testing procedure or whatnot, that you follow up. I think she has some very bright ideas, and it may make for a good conversation. Now, whether or not she'll reach out to you or not, I don't know. But I just wanted to get that out in the open so that in case you hear from her, act on whatever your particular excitement is at that time. But I think she could be a benefit to you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm reading her book now, How to Talk to Aliens, and then I bought her other book, the Psychic Intuition book. So as soon as I'm about 3/4 done. I'm about 3/4 done with the first book, so I'm going to be on the other book right away, and then I want to get with her. Thank you,
Gary. Do you think that the extraterrestrials, this non-human intelligence, wants you to find out the interpretation?
Yes.
That there's some code, or there's some.
Yes.
And they want you to figure it out?
I don't know if you're going to be, if you'll figure it out. I don't know if you'll figure it out, or if it'll just happen. And maybe somehow somebody else is going to pick this up and do this, and they're the ones that are going to get all the information from it. So we really want to have other people trying to do these things, especially when they're doing CE5.
Yeah.
Because that's when you have all the power of all the people in your group using their brain and opening up their hearts to make contact in the first place. And these radios just actually as another contact modality, just really cement your contact together. I mean, and just brings it even, it brings it to the next level.
Well, I'll make sure in the intro I mentioned that to the the viewing audience, that if they have, because this will go up on Grant's YouTube thing, they'll go up on mine. You, me, Grant, and Deb. I'll put it up, and he'll put it up too. He takes a while to get to it. I put mine up instantly because that's just my routine. But I will make sure to mention, and I'll have Grant mention that in this, that anyone who wants to try this, please do contact Grant or myself or Gary directly with whatever their outcomes are. And that one of the reasons that more people are being asked to do these kinds of experiments is to see what you come up with. And you may come up with something entirely different.
Exactly. We're sharing. You know what I mean? Some of these radios might go and do something totally different than chirping. You know what I mean? They might start squealing or doing acrobatics or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
They might start shaking instead, you know. Oh, so I have to remember to turn it down. Thank you for communicating with us today. I have to remember to turn them down every time I talk. And if I can, we're doing this right now. This is good for me to get in the habit of that. And then when I see myself, I can see that the radios are, here we are.
Is that the number one?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to count them 1, 2, 3 from your right to left. Okay.
What I'll do is I'll get some colored rubber bands to put on here. Or
that's great.
Or I could just put some acrylic paint on the antennas and paint the antennas colors.
That, or even a little stick-it note with a 1, 2, 3 or different color, whatever. Just something that would temporarily mark them so that we can say the orange when it's talking. Right, great.
Yeah,
and, And that way also, when you go to replace, take one off and replace it, you can switch positions and show people that, okay, I'm taking the orange one now and I'm putting it over here or whatever. Yeah. And it makes no difference what position I put them in. I can put them in any position I want, orange, white, red.
The other thing is I could take this. Here we go. We're coming through this one now. And I could just take this out, turn off the volume on these guys. And now take this one and do this one, the broadcasting on the music. You know, there he goes. Look, he's just starting to.
Is that Ho'oponopono?
What's that?
Is that Ho'oponopono?
I still didn't hear it.
Is that Ho'oponopono that you're doing? Is that chanting?
It's a Native American Earth Mother. It's Dreams from the Grandfather. Robert Tree Cody. Dreams from the Grandfather. And that's Earth Mother. We've done, and that was when we were doing that exact song. That's when those guys showed up over our head. and then they threw the shooter out the window before they left. That was unbelievable. I mean, Tony was falling down on the ground. He was screaming. People were just total disbelief. I mean, and then you have this acceptance that comes over everything. Everyone knows. They always knew that they were there, Amazing.
Now I'm going to keep, unless you tell me differently, I'm going to keep your geographic location vague. I'm going to say Central Florida.
Yes, that's how I like it. I don't want people coming over here. But anyway, so I want to really, while we're talking about this, I want to emphasize the fact that I got a message from these guys. I mean, I've been doing this for, 6 months with these radios, maybe, since COVID. Sometime during COVID, I started doing it when Jimmy tipped me off on it. But are you there?
Yeah, there we go.
I just got a low battery thing. So I want to really make it clear that I got the telepathic message in a CE5 to look up from the radios, said it out loud. There they were. That's important for people to know that that's real.
Okay.
That 10, 12 people aren't going to make that up. That's real,
Okay. Yeah, 10 to 12.
And blew people away. Just totally blew everybody away. I mean, and to this day, I mean, Tony, every time I talk to him, he goes, I can't believe, dude. He says that you got this message. You told us to look up, and there it was. And then they threw the shooter out. Oh my God. And, but that's what happens. And I always tell people, there's nothing in the world more than being with someone the first time ET experience. That is the most incredible, except for your own. But to be with somebody else and watch them experience ET for the first time is really thrilling to me.
In that group of 10 to 12, are there any public names in that group
that I could use?
Well, no. Yeah.
Oh, no, nobody that anyone would know.
Okay.
These are all my friends. These are my close friends, and some of them we've been doing it now for a couple of years together. So,
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I've been doing this now. I'm going on 5 years. And since I had my first experience that I actually asked for, I've had others, but I never knew that you could ask for it until I accidentally stumbled on Dr. Greer, and I found that out.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I went outside all by myself with a flashlight. I said, either this is real or it's bullshit. I want to know.
Well, and you know what? They used
It's
to,
real.
when I was studying primarily spirit communication, there's one maxim that you always use, and the spirits will say this. It says, test the spirits. So you have to test everything. Otherwise, it's just an opinion. It's just conjecture. It's just an idea, a concept. But when you get, even like Greer and many of the others, and I was with Greer, by the way, on Marco Island. With Greer and many of the others, you know, the one thing that you can say about them, whether you believe entirely or not entirely with their particular philosophy, is that they are always looking for cause and effect. It isn't just about a bunch of, oh, this is my idea, or this is what should happen, or this is how ET communicates. It's here. We'll do this, we'll get that. And that is what sells. Now, to the Love and Light crew, to a lot of the peripheral players in ufology, call it, extraterrestrial communication and whatnot,
Sure.
There's a lot of this, just, you see it, it's on Facebook, it's just jibber jabber. You know, I sense their
Everyone
presence.
says the same thing about consciousness and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And how we're all connected. I get tired of it, of course.
Yeah, I do too. And matter of fact, I've gone to just ignoring the people that just want to have an airy fairy, view of this.
Exactly.
There are a bunch of these, and mostly of them are women, but it's not just women. But mostly it's women. They love to get together in groups of 5 and 6 and 7 and pat each other on the back and tell each other they're telepathic and they're communicating with ET. And then you say something like, "What have you got for proof of this?" And next thing I know, I'm being blocked on Facebook because all you have to do is just call them out and just say, "I need a cause, I need an effect, show it to me." Otherwise, it's just language. Now, if you want, there's nothing wrong with being communal and enjoying the same ideas and whatnot.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. I'm with you. I've been getting this for a long time now. During this whole COVID thing, Lily watches everybody. She's connected to all kinds of women that are doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, Braca, you know who Braca is? She's a channeler. She's also a painter. I'll have to send you a link. She's wild and crazy, but she's an astrologist too. So she's getting messages, channeling, and it's a lot about astrology, and the world's changing, and we're going to go through this energy dips and that and up and down, and it's just a lot of that crap going on everywhere. And to me, you can go ahead and say that all you want, and we're going to go and do this field and have this together, and we're going to be here and there. Where the rubber meets the road is sitting down and making contact with non-human intelligence. That's it right there.
Yeah.
You either do it, you walk the talk, and that's it. We're walking the talk with this right here. This is walking the talk, walking the dog, whatever you want to call it, but we're doing that. And that's the point of CE5. And everybody else can do whatever they want to do and talk about UFOs, but we're beyond the UFOs. We know a lot who's driving these things. We know that this is real. We know that there's millions of planets and billions of people and civilizations. And we know there's people more advanced than we are, and they're here, and they're looking at us. And
yeah,
and some of them are serious. They laugh at us. I mean, there's cruise ships out there, just like we got cruise ships in the Bahamas. They got them right over here, over Florida too. They're in the sky.
Yeah.
And they come out with their skidoos, and a shooting star goes out. There might be those guys riding one of those skidoos. Yee-yee.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? They're on vacation, having a good time. I always ask them, you guys play jokes, and they'll answer me with a chirp or two.
Yeah, that's really true. And there's, it really, again, kind of amazes me that there are people that have been in the ufology field that have completely, I mean, they're still talking about, oh, look at this video where we have these, 3 dots in the sky and how they jump. I'm going, good Lord. I mean, dude, you've been doing this for 10 or 15 years. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to Grant Cameron, not because I didn't like what he did. It's just that he was kind of going through that same rehashing too about 3 or 4 years
Nuts
ago.
and bolts over and over again with
Yeah.
another document, another fucking general. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, really.
We already know.
Yeah, we already know that. Let's move on down the road here and let's get to some cause and effect. Let's get to some real communication. And it's coming very soon. Bashar says our open contact period starts 2023.
Yep.
So anywhere in the next 7 years after 2023, we're going to have open contact. And that means we're going to have extraterrestrials on Mother Terra, and we are going to be talking to them across the, across the park bench, so to speak. And this is going to happen.
Be there. I want to be involved with that. That's exciting to me. That's the most exciting thing in my entire life.
Well, I think you're doing exactly the thing that's necessary to do that. And that's not the technology as much as it is the effort. Because if you put the effort out, if you're saying, okay, I'm open to this, let's work together on this. This is what they're going to look for. They're going to look for people to make the contact with that are not skeptical, that are not cynical, that are completely bought in, that are ready to make contact, because there's a physical problem in making contact with folks. And one of those physical problems, and Grant ran into this when he was doing his Zendra portal work up in Seattle. One of the problems is there's a vibrational difference between extraterrestrials, any of the races and species, and us. And that vibrational difference is something that we've got to meet them halfway on. They will lower their physical vibration to a point. We have to raise our physical vibration to a point. How do we raise ours? By seeking out what we're passionate about, what we're interested in, following our highest excitement, and that's what you're doing. That's more important than the technology. The technology is the arm of the communication. The guts of the communication starts with the right attitude. And if you don't have the right attitude and you don't have the right temperament and the right desire, and it has to be a true desire. It's not just, oh, gee, that would be fun. I mean, hell, there's a lot of things that are, oh, gee, that would be fun. This is, hey, let's talk. Let's open up the contact. Let's open up communication in a sense that we have some real value between each other. And this is a technological start to that. There are others, obviously, but this is a technological start of that.
Well, that's exactly. And it's about opening your heart. It comes from heart center. It has to come from the heart. You can live that way with people, and that's how you want to live with these other beings. And by opening yourself up to them and asking them to share their life with you. In other words, I ask them all the time, will you share some of your life with me? I'm sharing with you. You can come here and see what I'm doing and watch me paint if you want to. And when I had cattle, you could come out and sit with me and watch the cattle eat the grass. I mean, you're asking for a friendship with them, just like, and if you go to a party, you don't go sit down in the corner and drink beer by yourself. You're going to the party to meet people that have fun. So I want to meet people and I want to meet them. So when I ask them questions, and I really, really recommend this to a lot of people, is that you ask them serious questions. Where do you guys live? Do you live in caves or do you live in the city? Do you guys play sports? What do you eat? Do you eat solid food or do you eat liquid? Are you on a liquid diet? Do you breathe oxygen or argon? Do you tell us what sustains you and what is your social situation? I mean, do you all have jobs or do you just all live on the planet and everything is just perfect? What kind of life are you guys leading? There's other things associated with that when you start engaging, and the more you start asking, these are real questions, so we can find out what's going on out there. And I love that with Grant. I mean, like, I'm down that rabbit hole, and every time I grab somebody's new book, like Rebecca Hardcastle Wright's book, I'm down another rabbit hole. Thank you. Thank you. So, this whole thing, I'm with you. It's all about doing it. It's all about engaging and not being afraid and being serious, but also looking at it in the light that it is. Hey, we're on a rock going around the sun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what we're really doing. I mean, I don't care what you're doing for a living or what's going on, but we're on a rock going around the sun, and there's other rocks going around all these other suns up there, and there's beings everywhere. And it's like we should get together and find out what they're doing. You know what I mean? I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, there's other stuff going on out there that has nothing to do with our existence, and they could be sharing some of that with us that will help us move and advance the civilization for all humanity. You know,
Moving over to the physical mediumship seance thing that we were talking about with Kai Mugi. I've been in contact with Kai consistently because he's got a different set of COVID issues in Germany,
traveling and all
that. So we're working through that, and he seems to think that come maybe Aprilish or so that the borders ought to open up. What I would like to do is to see if we could arrange a way that we could sit at your place there to have whether we have the seance in and around your area or not, to be able to come up with Kai and see what kind of response that we get from the extraterrestrials with him there. Because I've sat with Kai not when he's been in a cabin, not when he's been in seance, when he's just doing table tipping with the lights on and
it's
the
a
light.
regular human with us. We're all humans.
Yeah, but he has that special communication ability, and he is
right.
bringing
That's a
through.
dream team for me to have people like that come here. That's a dream team.
Well, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I got that across again, so that you didn't have any issues
that's
with
real
it.
important to me, boy. You know, I'm going out. I've been talking to Costa a lot. We've been friends for a couple of years, and I really love him and Hollis. And we're going to go out to Mount Shasta in June, this coming June. And we were signed up to go to Joshua Tree, but that had to be canceled because of COVID. I lost just lost my train of thought.
You're going to Mount Shasta.
No, it was before that. We were just talking.
Okay, reset. We were talking about Kai coming over there and Dream Team and all that kind of stuff, and you said,
the Dream Team thing. That's the thing. The reason to go out there is to be with people that have been doing this for a long time, that are really seasoned, that know what to do, that aren't afraid, that are really serious about researching and learning. And that's, to me, that's the dream team. That's the fun, because that's when all the magic starts to happen, because the people that have already had experiences are going to bring their friends to the party. So now you've got a party here with me and all my buddies, and now you're going to bring your space buddies out, and then he's going to bring his space buddies out. Some of them might know each other.
Oh, sure.
And then you really got something going on.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, I want to make mention of it again.
Yeah, that's dream team stuff.
All right,
and I was thinking about what you said about, my studio. I'm building this new storage rack in the next week, and so I could get a lot of stuff cleared out of my studio so that I have a lot more room, because I do a lot of things at the same time, and it's a 2-car garage, full open. And what I'm going to do is I'll have room to take everything in that studio and put into my storage area. So I have 2 skylights, though, in all the windows there and the doors. So it's never going to ever be dark, but it could be used, like you said, for those other events with a group of people, because it's a large room. But to have a dark room, I want to still try to get this room. And I keep forgetting to call the Hurlong, because I've already talked to 3 people that were there with me for meetings in art groups and stuff, but they don't know who rents the room exactly. So I got to find out who rents this room. It might not be affiliated with the Hurlong at all.
So
I'm looking,
Yeah.
I already asked one woman who's talking to the chamber. So that's a room that we could get, and it's perfect. It's in the bushes away from the road. Nobody would know anyone's there, and you can close up the windows and make it really dark, because I've been in there for events and meetings, and it's just perfect.
Well, we have a chance at a seance room that was a community room, but it was built for the Sarasota Circle of Light, SCOL. And David Thompson used to come there when he's from Australia, physical medium. David's a wonderful man, and he's a great physical medium. He would come and to Sarasota. I don't think he's going to come anymore. That seance room is sitting there doing nothing. But it also had skylights, and we just went up there on the skylights and put 2 or 3 trash bags up there, and then
you could staple them up.
Yeah, and just staple up a big black. I sent you the seance room layout. You could the one that we usually use over in Fort Lauderdale, and you can see that all we did with the big glass windows was just take plastic bags and just blue tape them. Painters tape them right to the wall.
Do that at my place too. Then, but it's a big room. It's enough. 20 people could be in there easily in a big circle. No problem. The only trouble is, excuse me, I'd have to have dogs tied up in the kennel, and they have to be put away, and they might be barking or howling because they howl. They're hounds. When they come around, they howl when ET comes too.
Do they?
Oh yeah. We've had experiences where the dogs were howling, and then we had orbs in the yard. So that can happen. Sure, of course.
Well, you might want to give them to a friend to hold on to for an hour or two, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. My dogs, I don't know where to put my dogs. They have to be in a kennel, but we'd work something out. So.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to, the key to all this is you can get all the windows blacked out and everything, but the real key is to be able to deny anyone coming in to the seance room by having it locked in such a manner that no one has a key to get in from the outside, and the only way you can get out is from the inside. So you might think like a fire exit. That's a bad example, but just an interior bolt that can't be keyed, or you rekey it so that, lost you on the video, that you can rekey it so that the only person that has a key to it is you. I don't want a key. Kai don't want a key. Nobody else has. You just have a key, or just Lily has a key. One person has a key, and they put that key in their pocket. That's the only way to get in, because that's the only way that a physical medium can get hurt, is that ectoplasm.
Somebody opens the door.
Well, it's ectoplasm and light. It's the light issue. And in fact, we used to take the doors, even though they were keyed only from the outside. We wrapped the doors up, even though they were, big old metal doors. We even put plastic over them. Ectoplasm and light don't coexist. The last death that we had of a physical medium was Helen Duncan. And the police broke in on Helen Duncan thinking she was doing some witchcraft, or long story there, but short is, this was probably around Churchill's time, because he came to her defense.
He got hurt from that, right? And
she died from it. She actually died from it. The ectoplasm retracts.
My phone's gonna die. I gotta go get a cord for it. Hold on, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna run up and get a cord.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Thanks for the communication today. We're trying to figure out what you're saying, so if you've got anything that you can hint at as to how we might be able to decode this conversation, we're all ears and ears, as they say. And we're going to try to put together some other individuals that have special gifts, as well as contactees, and some will be abductees as we try to bring in their extraterrestrial encounters, communications, experiences to lend to the whole of things. I hope that meets your approval. As Gary said, there may be folks that you already know and maybe folks that you can meet and greet. You're welcome. Oh, I see the light. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, my bad.
Are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. The Chirpas are going.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking to them.
Okay, good. I've got to charge. That's why I kept losing my train of thought, because this phone kept on telling me that it's going to die. Should work. Oh, they're talking.
Yeah, see, I did notice, by the way. Yeah, I've been talking to them, Gary. Telling them what I've been talking to them. I've been telling them what, we're trying to do, and try to bring some more experiences in. And I asked their permission if that would be all right. Got a little chirp out of that. I didn't notice. Back it up just a hair. The walkie-talkies. Back them up just a little bit. Yeah, back them up. There we go.
Yeah. I want to. So you want to?
No, I just now noticed where the little green light is, and it's there we go. Yeah, there we go. See, it's right below the red button.
Right.
Okay. Now I was looking up in the screen area, the LCD area up there. So I was looking at the wrong place. Now I know where the little green lights that flash up are. Well, look, I think we've got the basics down here, unless there's something else you'd like to experiment with. I'll kick an email over to Grant, tell him that we've been through this and we should be fairly standardized, but he's real easygoing, and he likes.
He is. He wants to. He's the same way. I mean, I read his contact modalities book. I couldn't put that book down. I ate that book for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. and when I was done reading that, I gave it to my daughter. I says, "You got to read this," But it's like, I know that he is just as passionate about finding out the truth and about seeing these things now as we are. And it's like, he was the nuts and bolts guy that I was always paying attention to, and when he started to slide over into the other areas, I was all excited, because whatever he does, he goes after it. I mean, with all barrels. I mean,
Well, I've still got his money, so he will come when we do the seancing and the CE5. So I'll be dragging him up there to visit you.
And that's a dream team. And the thing that I was thinking about would be, there would be other people that you'd want to invite that are really I'll call them big players in CE5, because they have these experiences all the time, and they're up for it. They want it. So,
I agree with you. I'd like to maybe invite one of the guys over from Darby. Any suggestions you have is you let me know. I've got a list of people that I have contacted. And since the COVID thing, it's been difficult to, follow up on who is going to continue to have interest and who could want to travel, all that kind of stuff. But I'm still looking for I'm still looking at more like April and May of next year, because I want it to be nice enough outside that we can go outside.
Yeah.
See, you have such an extremely different climate than I do. I mean, you've had 40s and 50s. We haven't had any.
Yeah, and in May is usually a drought, which is good. That means there's there's usually dry weather in May. So that's also good. But the thing is you want to make sure that whatever we book it, that there's no moon. You want to make sure there's no moon. But right now the moon is full. It'll be full Friday when we're on with Grant, which will be good during the daytime. So it'll be fine with ETs, but it'll be bright at night. So, the moon goes away generally. Right now, it changes every year, but every 6 months. But right now, the moon is gone like the first and second week of the month.
All right, so what you're saying is you don't want to see the moon in the daylight sky?
We don't want to see the moon at night. We want to make sure it's gone. We don't care if it's in the daytime out or if it's no moon at all. As long as that there's just when the moon comes up, it's like either in the daytime or when it goes down, it's still in the daytime. So we don't see it. That's the whole idea.
Okay.
If it's going down, it's maybe a quarter of a moon and it sets at 9 o'clock or something right when we go out. You know what I mean? Like there are certain times we'll have to look at the moons and we'll see. I'll tell you the ideal days. I mean, I've got a deluxe moon app, and I use that for our CE5 groups and stuff.
Well, all right. Well, why don't you look at the May calendar and come up with those quarter to less moon days?
It's a 2 week. It's a 2 week window.
Good. Shoot me those dates, and then we'll start pressing for a very firm date on this. I can tell you, Grant's really excited about making this trip. One of the reasons is he's getting to do a lot of things. He's getting to see a seance. He's getting to do CE5. He's going to see some table turning. All these things are things that some he's done, but he loves to do, like the CE5 stuff. Some he has never seen before, like the physical mediumship stuff. So there's a great deal of interest. We'll have a very exciting visit with him. And I'm trying to get him to bring Desta and Sinead, his assistants, down with him.
We have to get someone with a camera that's really good, because trying to film at night when you're doing all different things and you're dealing with radios, I have a fire going, if it's cool or cold out. I mean, make sure everyone's got pillows and blankets and comfortable chairs and all these things that you're doing when the CE5. Fumbling with a camera in the dark is not one of the things I like to do. I want to find someone who wants to hold on to the camera, because here's the thing. When I've been seeing for the last 5 years now, for 4.5 years, almost 5, going on 5, is that a lot of these people that are doing CE5s, they get some flash bulbs and some flyers, but we get ships that show up, and I mean, we've seen the triangle show up. We've had acrobatics in the sky. We've had ships stop right over the group. The same things happened down in Tampa with Mike Merberg. These experiences don't seem to happen for a lot of these people that are going to CE5s, and I don't know why. They just have a few things going on. Maybe it's the people that aren't tuning in, or what, for whatever reason. Maybe they got a ringer there that's trying to keep that's trying to say, see, there's nothing here, this is all bullshit, and then nobody wants to come because of that guy. But whatever happens, our CE5s are always incredible. Every time we have groups, they're always mind blowers. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm surprised that more people aren't having the same types of things that we've had.
Well,
I know they do. Somewhere.
Nancy went to Derby, and she said, all I got out of it was a frozen butt. And
see, I mean, that to me, that blows me away, because I mean, we don't even sit down. We're not even ready to get situated, and stuff is already going on around us. So that's the type of things that I'm into. Like you say, it's about making it happen. It's about doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm living my life with the ETs, or non-human intelligence, if they're multidimensional and they're not from another planet. If they're living here under the ground or around there somewhere in the mountains or whatever, or in the sea, they're communicating with me every day, and I enjoy it. I want more of it. I want to know more. I want to learn more, and I want to show other people that it's real. That's the whole thing. And then you go and find out it's real. Now you go and do something on your own or with your friends, and let's just keep on going like that. And like you say, by the time 2023 comes around, enough people will be doing this and we'll be ready for an open contact.
Well, I got
ready for them to come and bring a 1 mile long ship to sit over one of the cities and then open up and say, "Hi guys."
Yeah, two comments. Number one is often what I see is that people that show up for CE5s that aren't part of an existing group that are just showing up first time. They're looking for a show, and you have to be looking for communication. Your attitude has to be the show is secondary to the message. Love to have a show, fly all over the place. That's great.
They don't know that.
They don't know that.
Because they haven't researched it enough. And I tell people all the time, before you come here, and I don't let anybody come here. I don't invite people out of the cold. It's for word of mouth and friends and family members that are friends and blah, blah, blah. But when you come out here, before you come out here, you've got to do some research. And I send people videos. I send them websites to go to, and I want them to learn about what this is all about. So instead of me having to sit there and take somebody to school for 15 or 20 minutes before we sit down, that's ridiculous. I'm busy doing other stuff. You need to know what's going to happen and what you're doing before you get here. You need to know so that we don't really have to talk about it. You just have to sit down and be quiet and get ready and start talking to the ETs with your brain and opening up your heart. They have to learn how to do that before they're going to actually see other things besides people flying around in the sky. If you're not going to have an orb right here in the driveway or an orb on the patio unless everyone's in tune with asking them to come and be with us and say, open your heart and say, we really want you to join us and whether, at this party or at this get together, and be here. And if everyone has that same heart opening and that same desire, that really strong desire, that's what makes it happen, is that desire. And when I had a couple of first timers here that came a couple months ago, it was their first time, but the desire of wanting to experience and see that this is real, just that alone, just to see that this is real. That's why they were here, not to see a show, to see that it's real. And that desire and feeling all the time that they've known that something was going on. And turns out that one of the people that were here was an abductee. She has already had experiences when she was a child, and they even took her to a church and they exorcised her.
Mm-hmm.
The Christians down here scared shitless because she was having all these things happen. So, when people come and they have this strong desire, they're already open. They're already opening up their hearts by having that desire. And then they use in their minds to say, okay, I'm ready now. I'm ready. Here I am. And that's the mind part. I'm ready. Here I am. And the open up the heart is like, okay, I really want to see you. Boom. There it is. That's what happened to me too. I mean, that was the big thing, was that desire. And boy, you just, you crank up that juice really strong and bingo.
One last comment. I'm going to have to scoot. My wife just sent me a message. If you're going to Shasta, I went to the ECETI Ranch, and that's capital ECETI.
Right. You went over with James Gilliland, who I don't like.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're in the area and you can avoid James, then
I don't like him. I trashed him on Twitter and a couple other Facebook sites because he was going after Hillary Clinton, barbecuing having baby back ribs, Bill and Hillary's baby backs. So, when we start doing that kind of stuff and he starts talking about all this Q stuff, I go, man, this guy's, he's gone. He's not the true person that he says he is.
That's right.
He's not that kind of a loving human being if he's having his hatred for other beings that are actually trying to help him.
Yeah, I agree.
Hillary Clinton and almost got Podesta almost got her to put that on her platform. I mean, and that we were going for disclosure. I mean, and besides the fact that she's working for people,
Yeah.
And so these people, when they come up with that stuff and they do that and they start bringing politics into that, bye-bye. I'm gone. I'm out of here. You're bullshit. Get out
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah. Leave the politics.
And then but he was complaining out loud on either Facebook or a YouTube video about the prices that Dr. Greer was getting for his CE5s and screaming about he's just talking, it's not worth it, or going with him. And he was trashing this guy. And here I'm thinking to myself, what is this guy doing? Who cares how much somebody charges? None of your business. You don't know how much the hotels are. You don't know what people are doing. You don't know all the arrangements that are made. You don't know nothing about anything. It's none of your business. And here this guy was belly aching about it, making it a real big deal. And I was like, that was it for me. I didn't watch any more of his videos. I don't want to have anything to do with that guy. He's full of shit. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure he has contact and he's had things happen, but he's lost it.
Yeah, and I'll never go back to his place. Now, I had a very good experience there. There was a lot of active movement above Mount Hood in the sky. But you know what? You could have gone 20 acres over to the north or 20 acres over to the south and gotten the same show.
Same thing.
The only difference is he had the mindset or whatever to, buy this property with his inheritance, so he can live on it half the year and to open this stuff up. And that's his claim to fame. And outside that, I don't have anything I care to do with him either. So
I know someone who went out there and he ended up living out there for a couple of months with him working for him. Said he was the janitor basically.
Yeah, that's basically
that was the deal that he made.
Yeah, that's what he looks for. He looks for breakfast servers and cooks and janitors to run his place for him for free, and he gives them a place to stay. And about 2 months of that, and I imagine just about anybody gets sick of it, because I know that from other people going there, it's never the same people. He's got a new crew out there all the time. So he gets some newbies in, they get their jollies and think this is wonderful to be associated with him, and and he takes advantage of them, basically.
His credibility, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I know that he's had experiences and everything else, but I just stay away from that, All
right, well,
Greer, I mean, I don't even care what he's doing or whatever problems he's got. I have a lot of gratitude because he's the one who gave me the CE5, and because of that, I mean, I'm overly gratified,
Well, I need to end this and get back to my wife.
Let's get together before we're on with Grant on Friday, and then we'll make sure we have our setup, everything right. Do that.
Okay. I'll get hold of you about an hour before, and we'll get set up. It'll be great.
Turn off and go have lunch, and then come back. We'll be ready. All right.
All right. Good deal. I'll mark it on the calendar, and I'll see you then.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Gary.
See ya.